and Donald Trump Jr.?
Harsh to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marine podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Here is your host, Ryan Samuels.
Hello, Patriots. So we had last night, we had Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis go toe-to-toe, try to tear each other apart on the debate stage. Now, there's a couple of things that you need to know about Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is an establishment elite who has ties to the defense industry and is going to use those ties to benefit herself financially. She already has. She used her stint at the United Nations and her ties and her husband's ties to the defense industry to make millions of dollars by her influence and sending young Americans to war or sending weapons and intelligence to foreign nations like Ukraine. Here is a Forbes article on Nikki Haley called How Nikki Haley Built an $8 Million Fortune and Helped Bail Out Her Parents. At the height of her career, Nikki Haley's family was short on cash. She quit the Trump administration and made millions. When 2024 presidential candidate Nikki Haley last served in office as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, her family's finances were a mess. Her parents owed over $1 million and were in danger of losing their Lexington, South Carolina home. A devoted daughter, Haley had loaned them hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past with her husband, but she could not solve all of her parents' problems. With less than $100,000 sitting in her bank accounts and $185,000 coming in each year in salary. That's still a lot of money. Haley stunned Washington by resigning her role in the Trump administration in 2018, less than 2 years after taking office. A spokesperson for Haley claims that the family's financial trouble had no bearing whatsoever on Ambassador Haley's decision to leave her position, and points to a section of Haley's resignation letter in which she expressed support for rotation in office. What a bunch of crap. But the same letter also suggested that Haley may have had money-making ventures on her mind as a businessman. She wrote to Donald Trump, "I expect you will appreciate my sense that returning from government to the private sector is not a step down, but a step up." Indeed, since then, Haley's net worth has ballooned from less than $1 million to an estimated $8 million. How did she make so much money in so little time? By following a tried-and-true playbook for politicians looking to cash in on their fame. Speeches to companies like Barclays and organizations such as the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs provided more money in a day than Haley had previously earned in a year. It's not clear how many talks she gave from 2019 to 2021, but Haley hauled in $2.3 million just from 11 events in 2022. She also has ties to the defense industry. That's not from the article. That's me speaking for those listening on the podcast, which is why she's a major proponent of supporting Ukraine and sending Ukraine money. While DeSantis and Nikki Haley were debating, Donald Trump does what Donald Trump does. And he just said, I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing on the same day and take attention away from you, which is exactly what he did. Let's watch a news clip on that.
A pivotal night at the podium for presidential candidates Wednesday as they faced each other in the final debate before voting gets underway. Chief political correspondent Scott Thuman shows us how it wasn't the debate many would have pictured when this race began.
Well, kind of a bizarre sight that a debate before any ballots have even been cast, and it's already narrowed down to only 3 candidates who qualified and only 2 who are willing to show up. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis squaring off and scrambling for any last-minute Iowa support. An odd scenario just 5 days before ballots are cast.
Do you believe Donald Trump has the character to be president again?
I think he was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies, but his way is not my way. I don't think that President Trump is the right president to go forward.
He said he was going to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. He did not deliver that. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He did not deliver that. He said he was going to hold Hillary accountable, and he let her off the hook.
An average of polls shows them trailing their collective target, Donald Trump, badly. The former...
They're getting destroyed. They've been getting destroyed since the beginning. Trump has been destroying everybody. You're not going to beat Donald Trump this year. It's not going to happen. He's got too much support that the Democrats handed him on a silver platter with all these indictments.
President grabbing 51% of Republican Iowans, compared to 17 for DeSantis and 16 for Haley. Meanwhile, Trump again trying to steal the spotlight with his own event at the exact same time, a town hall on Fox News.
When you look at Ron's numbers, he's practically out of the race. He's also doing very poorly, as you know, in New Hampshire. I mean, really poorly. And I'm leading Biden in every single poll.
And his debate absence forcing Haley and DeSantis to focus on each other and aim for what now seems to be second place.
This is somebody that wrote in her book that Hillary Clinton inspired her to first run for office. I remember Hillary denigrating people on the Republican side as deplorables. We don't need a candidate who's going to look down on middle America.
The reason that he spent and blown through $150 million and gone down in the polls is because he spent more time trying to lie about me than he is about telling the truth about himself.
All of this kicking off the final stretch before Iowans caucus on Monday and possibly set the tone for the rest of the campaign. In Washington, I'm Scott.
Nikki Haley wants to play the victim. I mean, but it's a complete waste. It's a complete waste of everybody's time. Donald Trump is destroying everyone, and he's going to continue. Here are some more highlights from the debate between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis.
Live from Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa, this is the CNN Republican presidential debate.
Donald Trump's running to pursue his issues. Nikki Haley's running to pursue her donors' issues. I'm running to pursue your issues.
So what we're going to do is, rather than have him go and tell you all these lies, you can go to DeSantisLies.com. It will cover the fact that he's only mad about the donors because the donors used to be with him, but they're no longer with him now. And that's because he's upset about the fact that his campaign is exploding.
The difference between Nikki Haley and me, I listened to all that litany of stuff. I debated the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. I thought he lied a lot. Man, Nikki Haley gives him a run for his money, and she may even be more liberal than Gavin Newsom is.
I wish Donald Trump was up here on this stage. He's the one that I'm running against. He's the one that I wish would be here. He needs to be defending his record.
Why would he go? He's annihilating you by like 40 percentage points. He has no reason to go. The only reason they want him to go is to perhaps get some of his percentage points. That's all that it is. Because they know they're not going to win either way. Even if he goes, he's still going to win. So why would Donald Trump go? Why would he waste his time? Why wouldn't he continue to campaign? Obviously, what he's doing is working tremendously.
Do not trust Nikki Haley with illegal immigration. That's like having the fox guard the hen house. She's weak on immigration. She's bankrolled by people who want open borders. And she said there shouldn't be a limit on immigration. You should work with corporate CEOs.
We have to realize my parents came here legally. They came the right way 50 years ago. They put in the time. They put in the price. They are offended by what's happening on the border. But let me tell you why Ukraine should matter. First of all, I don't think we should give cash to any country, friend or foe, because you can't follow it, you can't hold it accountable. I don't think we need to put troops on the ground, and Ukrainians want to win this themselves. But dictators always do what they say they're going to do.
This is the UN way of thinking, that we're somehow globalists and we have unlimited resources to do. I think here's the problem. You can take the ambassador out of the United Nations, but you can't take the United Nations out of the ambassador.
Do you believe Governor Haley is sufficiently pro-life?
I think she's been confused on the issue. I think she's trying to speak to different groups with different things. But when she says things like pro-lifers need to stop talking about throwing women in jail, that's a trope. No one I've ever met thinks that that's something that's appropriate.
These fellas don't know how to talk about abortion. I have said over and over again, the Democrats put fear in women on abortion, and Republicans have used judgment. And the tropes that you want to talk about, you keep saying, where is anybody talking about putting a woman in jail or giving her the death penalty? South Carolina. There is legislation right now that would put a woman in jail if she got an abortion.
Thank you, Governor.
That's why I say
Thank
that.
you. What do you admire about Governor Haley?
Well, look, I mean, I think that, at the United Nations, I did think that she spoke out strongly on some key issues, and I appreciated that. I also appreciate the state of South Carolina.
Governor Haley, what do you admire about Governor DeSantis?
I think he's been a good governor.
Okay.
Shots fired. I mean, Nikki Haley was a terrible governor. She was atrocious. Nikki Haley's the one who jumped on the woke bandwagon and had the Confederate flag removed from the state capitol, from all public domains. She's also the one who does praise Hillary Clinton. She praises Hillary Clinton. She says that Hillary Clinton is the reason that she got into politics. She's a liberal. Nikki Haley is not who you think Nikki Haley is. And there's actual talk. Even Donald Trump was talking about making her vice president, and that was shot down immediately because the entire party was like, no, she's a Democrat. She's a liberal. She bows to the woke mob. She's a defense industry tycoon that's going to support endless wars to line her own pockets.
This has been one of the biggest years for illegal border crossings into the United States. Last month alone, 225,000 migrants illegally crossed the southern border. It's a record high, overwhelming the Border Patrol resources that are already stretched thin. Mayors across the country say their cities are being pushed to a breaking point. Governor DeSantis, former President Trump, famously promised to build a wall on the southern border. He obviously did not get that done. You have promised to finish the job. How will you succeed where he failed?
We will build a wall. We will actually have Mexico pay for it in the way that I thought Donald Trump was. We're going to charge fees on remittances that workers send to foreign countries. Billions of dollars will build the wall. He also promised record deportations. Donald Trump deported fewer people than Barack Obama did when he was president. Biden's let in 8 million people just in 4 years. They all have to go back. We have to enforce the rule of law in this country. Think about what's happening to our country. Just this week, we saw the news that a school in Brooklyn, New York, had the kids stay home. They were not able to go to school, told you can't go get an in-person education. Why? Because the city's commandeering the school to house illegal aliens in it. Talk about putting Americans last. You're putting these kids out of an education because you can't control the border. Biden has failed in this endeavor. He has not taken care that the laws of this country be faithfully executed. Do not trust Nikki Haley with illegal immigration. That's like having the fox guard the hen house. She's on tape at the Aspen Institute. She'll say she didn't say it. She was chastising conservatives, saying it's disrespectful to illegal aliens to say that they're criminals. They're violating the law. It's disrespectful when people come to this country illegally and impose burdens on our communities and run drugs into this country. That's what's disrespectful. She's weak on immigration. She's bankrolled by people who want open borders, and she said there shouldn't be a limit on immigration. You should work with corporate CEOs.
Thanks, Governor.
That is pale pastels. That's
Governor, thank you so much. So, Governor Haley.
100%. But that's the kind of person that she is. Ron DeSantis has a proven record on immigration. They sent a bunch of illegal immigrants to Florida. He loaded them on a plane and sent them directly to Barack Obama in Martha's Vineyard, which was amazing and hilarious, and said, you take them. We don't want them. You can have them. since you want to, enforce all these policies with Bill Clinton and the rest of these lunatics that are just completely soft on immigration, simply so that they can get votes. That's all that it's about. That's the name of the game, is letting millions and millions of people in so that they can get votes and Biden can get reelected and they can keep Democrats in power. Democrats have to cheat. They have to cheat the system because the country of the United States of America is conservative. The entire country of the United States is conservative. Even people in the big cities, there's conservatives everywhere. They outnumber the Democrats, so they have to cheat. They have to cheat. It's the only way that they can survive.
Governor DeSantis and also Donald Trump are attacking you for that comment in 2015 in which you said undocumented immigrants should not be called, quote, criminals. At the time, the full context is you said, quote, we don't need to talk about them as criminals. They're not. They're families that want a better life and they're desperate to get here, unquote. Do you still feel that way?
They're criminals. Family or not, the reason you're coming is completely irrelevant. That's like saying somebody falls on hard times, so therefore they rob a liquor store so they could pay their rent or provide food for their family, and then saying that person's not a criminal because their intent was somehow above our morale. Somehow it was above our morals as a nation to commit the crime to begin with. It's an illogical argument, and it's an illogical way of thinking, and it gives insight into who Nikki Haley actually is. If you look at her record on immigration, her ties with the defense industry, her praise for Hillary Clinton, you're a Democrat. You're a lunatic. We don't want you in office. Removing the Confederate flag because you had political pressure from leftists.
I saw them. When I was at the United Nations, I saw them. That doesn't mean we should let them into our country. I mean, first of all, I will tell you that when I was governor of South Carolina, we passed the toughest illegal immigration law in the country. Obama sued us over it, and we won. We fought Obama on illegal immigration. We fought Obama on migrant kids. We fought Obama on Syrian refugees. We fought Obama on Guantanamo Bay prisoners. I have always said we are a country of laws. The second we stop being a country of laws, we give up everything this country was founded on. But I will tell you, in passing that toughest illegal immigration law in the country, we passed E-Verify, which I want to take national, which is where businesses have to prove that the people they hire are in this country legally. I passed it within 6 months of being governor. Ron didn't pass it for 5 years. He only waited to pass it when he decided to run for president. What we need to do is not just ban a wall. We need to put 25,000 Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job. We need to defund sanctuary cities once and for all. No more safe havens for illegal immigrants. We need to make sure we go back to the Remain in Mexico policy so that no one even steps foot on U.S. soil. And instead of catch and release, we need to go to catch and deport. That's the only way we'll stop the incentives of these illegal immigrants coming across. Biden turned around and gave 500,000 Venezuelans temporary protective status. That's 500,000 driver's licenses, 500,000 social security numbers. All that does is incentivize them to pick up the phone, call their family members, and tell them to come
Governor
ahead.
DeSantis.
She did bring, when she was governor, she did bring Syrian refugees, and she got criticized for that.
That is not
she
true.
Also, in her comment,
Hold on one second, Governor.
That is not true.
We'll give you your turn in a second. Governor DeSantis.
It's noted. So
Unbelievable.
The disrespect comment, she's talking about that they're all families. If you look right now at the border, these are military-age males, many of them, and they're coming from all across this world, not just from Central America. In fact, you've got them from China, Iran, Russia, the Middle East. When I was down there a couple years ago, because I've sent people down there, you had people from Libya and Haiti. This is a ticking time bomb for this country. There are, of course, going to be terrorist cells that have come in. It's like the lowest cost way to be able to harm this country. Just send people across the southern border. Nikki Haley also opposed the border wall in 2016. She said that she ridiculed it when Donald Trump was president. I'm telling you, you need a wall. You can't trust politicians to do this. If the wall's there, it's a physical fact of life, and it's a huge step to restoring this country's sovereignty.
Thank you, Governor Haley.
Go to DeSantisLies.com. I said you can't just build a wall. You have to do more than build a wall. It was having the wall and everything else. You can't trust what Ron's saying. But this is a bigger issue. This is more than him just constantly being desperate and throwing things on me. This is the fact that we have to realize my parents came here illegally. They came the right way 50 years ago. They put in the time, they put in the price. They are offended by what's happening on the border. And my mom would always say, if they don't follow the laws to come into this country, they won't follow the laws when they are in this country. And we have to start treating this like it is. This is putting harm on our schools, on our hospitals. Taxpayers are paying for it. You see these mayors are now upset about it. The only reason Eric Adams is now upset, why? He shouldn't be a sanctuary city then. That's why we have to defund sanctuary cities. Now Governor Abbott finally did to them what's been happening to Texas for so long. We've got to put an end to this. It's dangerous, and it doesn't even count the fentanyl that's
Governor DeSantis.
DeSantisLies.com. We're going to have to check that out at some point. But, I mean, if you have to make a website just to counter all the attacks on you, there must be some validity to the attacks that are coming on. Obviously, this is a debate, and it's a presidential debate. They're taking things each other has said and twisting it. But when it comes to Nikki Haley, there is a lot of truth to the accusations that are against her. There's a lot of truth. She has a proven record of being a left of center politician.
There are more than 10 million undocumented immigrants already living in the United States, according to Pew Research. Will any of them be allowed to stay in the United States under your administration?
The number of people that will be amnestied when I'm president is 0. We cannot do an amnesty in this country. First of all, it's going to do is cause more people to want to come illegally. So you got to enforce the law. It's got to be consistent. People got to know it's there. You also have to remove benefits for people who are here illegally. You know, California, you can go illegal alien and you get free health insurance coverage. You're here illegally and they're doing that. We should not let states provide these benefits. You know, in Florida, obviously, we don't do that. We don't allow the driver's license and all that. But some states do, and it creates a magnet for people coming in. So federally, no benefits, no enticements to come in. And then the states, we're going to crack down on sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. And I showed the hypocrisy of all this back in 2022, because we have a program to transport illegal aliens to sanctuary jurisdictions. And one of the places we sent 50 to, beautiful, liberal Martha's Vineyard. And you know what? These are folks that were on their high horse, saying how they were a sanctuary jurisdiction, saying nobody's illegal, all refugees are welcome. That's what they had in their town. The minute even 50 came up, they called a state of emergency and deported them off the island the next day. How do you think Texas feels? How do you think all these other communities feel that are overwhelming being...
Yeah, well, you know, the second Martha's Vineyard got a taste of their own medicine. They were like, whoa, no, not in my backyard. Not in my backyard. You guys have to deal with this, not us. We're elite. We're better than everyone. We don't have to deal with this. You have to deal with this. And that was the mentality of these elite, extreme, leftist, lunatic Democrats.
Overwhelmed. So we cannot have liberal elites in this country imposing policies on the rest of us that they are not willing to deal with the consequences of themselves.
Governor Haley, by the when you're president, will any of the more than 10 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S. be allowed to stay in the country under your administration?
You have to deport them. And the reason you have to deport them is they're cutting the line. You've got people who have done this and tried to go through the right way. You can't have them go and jump the line and suddenly do that. And that is actually what will get them to stop coming, is when they do realize they get to the wall and they have to turn around and go back. It's a dangerous process of what happens for them to try and migrate here. But when I was at the United Nations,
Nikki Haley will not deport any of the illegal immigrants because Nikki Haley, her funding and her donors are not going to allow her to because they want the votes. They want the votes for the people that are going to do what the establishment wants them to do, and those are the donors or the establishment, the aristocrats that are controlling our politicians and, you know, ad hoc controlling the country. She's not going to deport any of them. I promise you that.
and we had this, which is another reason why we need to have Trump here defending himself and talking about what he would do going in the future, because it's a problem. I was on the ground in Honduras and Guatemala, and what we saw is a lot of the reason why they were coming from there is because of gangs and drugs. And so what we did was we had our military go and train them on how to deal with gangs. We went and put drug boats on the water to keep the drugs from coming. But we said, you have to have them processed from here. You can't have them come. We were able to stop that flow. We've got to go back to do that. But we.
Anyway, her voice just is, it annoys me. Oh my God. Let's watch another clip here. Let's see what these clowns have to say.
Days, they're gone, aren't they?
Yeah, they are gone, for sure. And I think last night was a display of that. I mean, the fact that you have a Republican presidential debate without the front runner, I think Politico did a good job this morning saying this wasn't a split screen, this was a sideshow. And I'm talking about Governor Haley
right.
and
Well,
Governor
let's go
DeSantis.
to the main show, which is the president. We spent the last hour more on the sideshow with John Lieber of Eurasia Group. How did President Trump do last night?
Well, look, Iowa voters like him. Obviously, he's dominating in the polls, and you saw his ability to just talk about what he wants. You know, he's asked about the $8 trillion he added to the deficit, and instead he goes off on tangents about how Bidenomics isn't working and how he is going to be the one that can make sure he releases America's energy independence. By the way, no one, I think has told the former president that the United States is at record production, more than 13 million barrels a day. He said he would be able to do that. It's already happening.
It's beautiful. He knows that. Democrats won't correct him. Why? They don't want to talk about it either.
They don't want to talk about the fossil fuels that they're putting out into the world. They want to talk about the electrification of the grid that they're trying to make happen.
Bloomberg is just insanely liberal. Bloomberg Radio, if you ever listen to it.
But Donald Trump has a commanding lead in Iowa. What I think is more interesting, because I'm not sure if you guys talked about it yet, was that Chris Christie, though, yesterday suspended his campaign.
Yes, Chris Christie suspended his campaign to eat more donuts. That guy is a complete waste of space, waste of time. He's a disgrace to the Republican Party, and he might as well be a woke Democrat. Chris Christie is a useless human being who serves no purpose in our political arena. The only reason he got into the race was to bash Donald Trump the whole time, and all he did was boost him in the polls. This is a guy who was bowing down and hugging Barack Obama because that's who he is. He's a New York Republican or a New Jersey Republican is the equivalent to a Southern Democrat. I grew up in New York. I'm from New York. Those conservatives are not conservatives. They're not conservatives. They don't believe in gun laws. They don't believe in the same core principle values that conservatives believe in. But, she's right. Donald Trump continues to dominate everything, and he's going to. And as it appears now, it appears that he's going to be the next president of the United States. A lot can change in the next 12 months. A lot. It's not a guarantee. It never is. You know, Barack Obama's polls were way in the dumps a year before he was reelected. You never know with politics. So Donald Trump is going to win the nomination. It's a mathematical fact. It's going to happen. And then we're going to get into the real things, because Joe Biden is not going to be able to hide in his basement this election. He's going to have to come out of this election. He's going to have to get on a stage, and he's going to have to debate Donald Trump. And he's not going to be able to do it efficiently because he can't even give a speech efficiently because he's out of his rocker. He's out of his mind. He has dementia. He's losing it on a daily basis. So that is the next step in this presidential election, is going to be Trump versus Biden on the stage in front of the American people. Joe Biden's not going to be able to hide. Donald Trump's not going to be able to hide like he's been from the Republican debates because it won't benefit him. They're going to have to get on stage and they're going to have to go at it, and it's going to be ugly. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ryan Samuels. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we will see you next time.
Into the Ryan Samuels Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.